Hi everyone, dear God, please let me live here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Young Thug album, Punk. This is a brand new LP from one of modern hip-hop's boldest innovators, a man whose elastic, ever-evolving vocal style helped define the latter half of the 2010s and blurred the lines between hip-hop and everything else. And he continues to push boundaries on punk, as there's numerous tracks here that show Young Thug delivering really introspective lyrics and mellow vocal performances over sparkling beds of guitar, which was pretty much the musical tone he hit on his recent Tiny Desk concert. It's also important to note Young Thug has flirted with a more guitar-based sound before, most consistently on his project Beautiful Thugger Girls, but I've always felt like he never explored the full potential of a rapper-gone singer-songwriter on that project. And given his vocal range, if anyone in hip-hop can make that transition, I think it's him. And he certainly does do that on Punk, at least for the first leg. The opening track, Die Slow, which was one of the more notable moments in that Tiny Desk concert that I mentioned earlier, there are some atmospheric electric guitars on this one that set a stage for some really personal and sometimes tragic bars from Thugger. His delivery on this one runs almost like spoken word. Maybe this track is more understated and dramatic than some longtime fans were expecting, but honestly, I thought it was emotionally compelling and just shows Thugger's range. Stupid/Asking tells a story of lying, cheating, overspending, but the twist here is Thugger is telling the story from the standpoint of the woman dealing with him. Plus, the insane beat transition into the asking section of the song was not only a stroke of genius, but it feels genuinely and narratively like a part of the song, not just some like non sequitur beat switch or anything like that. It just feels like an extension of everything emotionally that's been happening so far. Recognize Real was another moment on the LP that finds power in somber, low-key acoustic guitars and tragic bars. Even hearing Gunna on this track with no auto-tune on his voice and coming across pretty emotive and, I guess, sincere lyrically and vocally was a refreshing change of pace. Then Contagious comes through with a strong hook, strong message, wishing that keeping it real was contagious instead of being met with fakeness. It's not a guitar cut, but the dreamy beats and keys certainly met the tone of most of the songs so far. So I love all these tracks so far, not just because I think they are quality, but I also think they're a kind of interesting and unlikely start to a Young Thug album. However, my issue is that past this point, there's no real follow-through. The focus on this sound and mood is abandoned, and not only that, but the quality of the songwriting drops off severely. The track featuring Juice WRLD is embarrassingly derivative. It just sees Thugger working a very bad Cardi impression over a Pierre Bourne beat. Then Juice on the back end isn't even mixed into the beat all that well, and even though over the past few years we've got a lot of impressive posthumous tracks and verses from Juice's camp, I don't think this is one of them. Then we have Livin' It Up with Post Malone and A$AP Rocky, which, to Young Thug's defense, is an acoustic track, but it's not of the vibe and quality of the tracks that are, you know, again, more guitar-leaning so far. This feels like an Ed Sheeran song, but with, like, Young Thug doing it instead, or I don't know, like a bad rendition or a bad Bizarro version of Justin Bieber's Love Yourself. Yeah, the whole vibe of this track just feels like frat boys chugging White Claws. I'm not into it. Yeah, between its acoustic guitar licks and beat, seems almost like a southern pop rap piece from the 2000s, or maybe a bit of an Outkast ripoff, which overall would be fine if not for the fact that the beat is bland as hell, the hook is uninspired, and it just feels like Thugger is not trying to write on this one at all. There's also Scoliosis featuring Lil Double O, and I was not ready for the quality of this project to drop off as hard as it does on this track. What the hell is this? Is this like a bad mixtape extra or something? It's not even mixed. Like, it's audibly worse and messier than every other song here. How it made the cut onto this 20-track album. We didn't even need this many songs to begin with, but like, we somehow got this on here. From this point, it's like Young Thug's vocal lines and beats get blander and more unimaginative. Faces, Droppin' Jewels, Fifth Day Dead, which is about as middle of the road as I think Young Thug tracks can get in 2021. But honestly, I wish the rest of the record just like stayed boring, because what we are left with is, there's Icy Hot with Doja Cat, which, gosh, that's how goofy this track is. What are these squeaky vocal leads layered on top of each other? The auto-tune is awful, my god. Yeah, between the vocal work and the hook and the beat just being very, very skeletal, this is all kinds of annoying. Just an awful idea for a song, and honestly, like, a waste of a Doja Cat feature, because I usually like her features a lot. She usually does bring a bit of pep or energy or spark to a track, but yeah, this was just not one of those cases. Again, mostly because, like, I feel like there was no saving this song off the bat. But there are other big features on this thing that falter in a major way too. J. Cole launching into a partial second verse that is totally unnecessary, has no sense of direction, and just like ends out of nowhere. I suppose this part could be seen as a bridge, but it just feels so out of place. Even Drake is sounding awkward as hell with a subpar vocal performance and this flow where he's like laying on the vowel sound at the end of every other bar or so. The track he's on just ends out of nowhere too. Yeah, this record, in my opinion, was just really not it. It was a total mess. No idea what it wanted to do or wanted to accomplish. I think it started off really well, and if it somehow continued with those ideas and kept dishing out quality songs while doing that, Punk could have been great. Punk could have been one of the best records in Young Thug's discography. I think, you know, given the first leg, that's kind of what it was setting itself up for. But then I guess at a certain point, this record just gets tired of doing that and gives up entirely on that direction and just sounding good in general. I'm feeling a decent 3 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you could check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Young Thug, forever.